It's February the 16th, 2023, when I'm making this podcasty type response back to the JCHR's 2021 Forced Adoption Inquiry podcast, seen today, and to Joanna Cherry KC on Twitter, who I respect for her various political struggles, by the way. I am an adoptee of 69, adopted in Birmingham in 1960, age 6. I think it's really necessary to respond independently for other types of damaged adoptees. I'm being adoptee-cratic, so to speak. I've heard Joanna's podcast now, and frankly, it made me shake with pain. Adoption does that to many adoptees, and stories about it rip into hearts because down at the bottom of it all are deeply experienced primal rips away from mothers and children, and that is internalised. Hurt is for a lifetime sometimes. That's the core truth and wound. I just want to say, though, here too, thank you for all your displays of courage in telling your stories on the podcast. It was moving. Even though I sent testimony into the 2021-2 inquiry and proof of percentages of child abused adoptees inside adoptions, my information disappeared, apparently. So what was the relevance of that information, you may ask? I'll explain as best as I can. I come to what was so missed by the JCHR forced adoption inquiry in terms of opportunity to give some of us very hurt adoptees a recommended solution, namely, and because of child abuse, to ease our legal rights to revoke and walk away from the state-designated identity that is given to us by the state forever. Even past 18 for adoptees, that is irrevocable mostly. Imagine that. Imagine being identified after the people that have abused you and mistreated you. Just imagine it. We need the adult legal right ease to gain back our own first core identities, no matter how ragged they are and feel. Some of us know who we are, knew it as kids too. We were adopted much later than just being babies. After lifetimes of hurt inside adoption's after effects, we need our right to identify as ourselves legally. And we need it eased to regain our core self-identified selves. Namely, our first core identity has to be given back under the human rights laws if we wish it. After all, we adult adoptees are not slaves or things to be owned, are we? Or are we? Only the state-conferred property-like status we're inside can make adopted people not be free to choose their self-identity and to live comfortably as they feel themselves to be, and to be sanctioned legally like that. To return to birth identity, to feel at least partly cleansed of adoption's contaminations, which happened to some of us in very bad ways. I do not understand why a human rights committee could not see that forced adoption, or in fact the past's ugly casual ones, does not necessitate a freedom claim for adoptees wanting to revoke their state-appointed faked identities. Please do not believe some authentic identity cannot be reclaimed back. It can. Some of us do that in therapy we pay for. Some of us rebuild kin connections and claim the neural bridges back to organic senses of birth-given self. It happens. We need it finally recognised in law to gain back ourselves finally. You've got yours. We want ours. Our identities. I want to tell you all forced adoptions are not just historic. They are happening right now, and the information is well available from organisations like Taken UK and Support Not Separation UK. The Labour Party under Tony Blair created an impetus for more adoptions, and so have the Conservatives. Adoptee activists on Facebook meet hundreds of pained mothers all the time, with kids taken from them by dubious levels of proof by social workers and others, with the family courts operating on 51% levels of so-called proof. They see to it kids are taken into care or adopted into pain. The JCHR never even touched this facet of current forced adoptions. I end now by underlining some of us as adoptees want the legal right ease to walk away from adoption, even though we're older, because it would finally seal who we are. For we are not the identities the state gave us to bear, and some of us have been child abused inside adoptions, and we are not a minority at all. We are in fact a sizable percent of up to 40%. Some of us have heard from those people in the UK. The battle for justice, it appears, is only just starting. But once again, we adoptees are ghosts are coming out of the social corners into the political airs. But we will haunt you as we can.